This is what they came for. It's what they have dreamed of for a very long time. The remaining teams in the AfricaEcoRace 2020 have made it to the shores of the mythical Lac Rose. All that remains is to revel in the finale of these 2 weeks of blood, sweat and gears. Today's plan, the final 22 kilometres of time stage from Niokhob to Lac Rose. Here's a little look at their adventure.
When I ride in the desert, I relax. It's the only time in the year I have only one mind in the head. I only think about the desert and the road, nothing else.
Africa is my dream, biggest dream.
This is super, it's wonderful. This is my dream, to be alone in hard condition, no signal, nothing, only desert, and it's super.
I love the desert, in fact, and speed and car. So you have the three things here. That's perfect.
Et jamais je m'étais dit un jour peut-être que j'allais être sur un rallye et faire copilote avec mon père en fait. Donc aujourd'hui c'est un peu un rêve qui se réalise.
Nee, staan we daar met een bediening.
Mi piace l'avventura e scoprire posti nuovi e quando entri in qualcosa di fantastico puoi solo sognare.
Riding the bike on a special stage for me is just like, it's part of my soul, you know, it's like man and machine out in the desert, big wide open spaces, it's just amazing.
Two weeks ago in Monaco, there were nearly 80 bikes on the start line. Today, there were still 61 ready to race along the shores of Lac Rose, 60 of them behind Alessandro Botturi. In the sands of Mauritania, his strategy was never to leave any tracks for the others to follow. A wise choice, and the Italian retains his title after a very challenging race. This year, the race was much more difficult, much harder, because in Mauritania there was a lot of wind. We couldn't see anything. The stages were very, very complicated and difficult. I'm happy. In the final GC, Alessandro Botturi wins his second title with a mere 3 minutes and 59 seconds over Paul Anders Olavalseter. Lyndon Poskett was third, ahead of Paolo Lucci. The 18-year-old Konrad Dubowski is eighth. Sticking with two wheels and on to those that do the AfricaEcoRace the hardest way. Those that go back to basics, passion sprinkled with pitfalls and pain. The Motul Extreme riders do the rally under the same conditions as 40 years ago. The goal to get to Dakar with only 2 trunks. These are the real adventurers. The best of them all this year was the Frenchman Amaury Baratin, a former track rider. Doing a rally on your own without assistance is a bold choice, but it certainly makes victory all the sweeter. I couldn't imagine it any other way. I want to be responsible for the A to Z of my results or my lack of results. And if something goes wrong, I only have myself to blame. When it works, I want it to be for me. It was the only goal when I left, but very quickly I wanted to win the Malmoto. I managed both goals. Perfect. The final results in the Motul Extreme rider are as follows. Victory for Amaury Baratin ahead of the Swede Anders Berglund. Hats off to the Senegalese rider Mamadou Bokoum, who finished third and with a hero's welcome to his hometown of Dakar. This year, the SSV category took a big leap in size, 19 of them on the start line in Monaco. These little buggies are charming everybody. Drivers love them because they're light, easy to handle and fun to drive in the sand and the dunes. This year, the fastest was Benoit Fretin. He reckons everyone should do the AfricaEcoRace in one. Oh yeah, it's great. Quality, price, fun in the dunes. Everyone is amazed. But we can't take all the credit. We have a car made for it. It's the ideal toy for this kind of race. Benoit Fretin wins the SSV Extreme Driver and is 4th overall in the GC. He finished 1 hour 42 minutes ahead of his IDEO teammate Patrice Etienne. The Senegalese driver Camille Rahal is 6th. In the car-truck category, there were around 60 at the start, all with a single goal in mind, to get to Dakar. 49 of them made it. In the truck category, the most consistent of them all was Miklos Kovac. The Hungarian made the most of Igor Bowen's troubles and brought home the victory for the second time after a win in 2010. It's amazing here. I looked after the truck, especially in the last stage. It's difficult to describe how it feels. I can't compare it to anything else. It's my second AfricaEcoRace victory. I'm really happy. It's incredible. And finally, amongst the cars, it's Patrick Martin and his 20-year-old son Lucas who win the AfricaEcoRace 2020. He came home ahead of Yves Fremont and Alexei Titov. For the final stage to Dakar, Lucas took the wheel with his father beside him. Patrick Martin writes his name into the race's history books alongside all the greats, including 6-time winner Jean-Louis Schlesser. We are very proud because Jean-Louis is one of the greats in Rally Raid. So, yes, we are delighted to have this trophy for the mantelpiece, where we can look at it. It's a fantastic adventure, and we were obviously delighted to have won. In the final GC for the car truck category, Patrick and Lucas Martin take victory in a total time of 49 hours, 15 minutes and 11 seconds for 4,000 kilometres of timed desert stages. In the top 10 we find 5 trucks, 3 SSVs and 2 cars. Yesterday evening, we went to find out Jean-Louis Schlesser's thoughts on the race. Tired but happy, the race director is delighted to see his baby growing up. There have been very few big bike accidents. It's always what I worry about. I'm always afraid that there will be an accident. There have been a few. The helicopters have worked hard. All's well that ends well. A great win, and also in the Malmoto, because for us the Malmoto is important. We have 17 of them with Motul. Boturi kept pushing Paul, who sadly finished 4 minutes behind. But it was back and forth between them, one winning and then the other. I'm happy for Martin. He was in a team with Yves Froment. He's been doing the Africa race for a long time, and it's right that he wins the race. It's a shame for Yves Froment, who's a nice guy. They're in the same team. Yves was leading for a while, but it's Martin who wins. Bravo to him. He really deserves it. 10 years after he nearly won the first edition, and now he has won. I'm really pleased for him. He has a great joie de vivre. When he wins a stage, he's so excited. He calls everyone, he buys drinks, he tries to share the joy. He's someone who really lives the spirit of the AfricaEcoRace. Fretin, he's had a fantastic race. He's very likeable. He's the winner. And also their second car won the stage. It's great. They're a good team. They're organised as professionals. They really deserve this victory. The race this year was perhaps the hardest, and I'm surprised to see them at the finish. Of course, they took some penalties. There were some stages they didn't do because they were too hard. Certainly for Nicolas Duto on a bike with two ghost riders. Gave me goosebumps to see them. I have a story about that. I was at a refueling point and I heard speaking. I had a rider next to me speaking into his helmet. I thought, is he speaking to me? I turned round and I saw Nicolas Duto arriving, slowly, about to fall. I leapt forward to hold his bike. That really touched me, blew me away to see him riding this race. What incredible courage. The best image for me was from the plane. We passed over enormous canyons, including the Nega Pass. And I think even the assistance vehicles who came from Attar to Tijikja were impressed by the scenery. And there we have it. The 12th edition of the AfricaEcoRace has come to an end. We'll let the images speak for themselves. See you next year. Bye-bye.